What's a good word, YouTube? This one's going to be right off the cuff. I didn't really put much thought into this, but I received shit. Right, Local 104, Sheet Metal Union, Boop de Boo, News, Magazine from my union. My name's in here in this book as a retiree. Fuck, are you kidding? I'm trying to find the right words to get this started. Okay, where do I begin? Some 6 years ago, I was at the ex's house, and I'm gonna call her the ex, and I hope you forgive me, young lady. I don't want to use your name because I don't think you want me to use your name, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But anyway, I was at my ex's house, and I was watering the front lawn, and I got this weird feeling in my chest, and I didn't understand. I was thinking, oh man, it was just kind of uneasy tightness. It was really odd. I never felt nothing like it. Kim, are you gonna come up? Are you gonna interrupt me again? Come on, please. Up, please. Come on. Anyway, so I get this weird feeling. I walk back in the house. I call the ex. She comes in the living room. What's up? And I said, hey, I don't feel good. And she goes, what's wrong with you? And I said, I don't know, I might be having a heart attack. And she goes, quit playing. And I said, well, I hope not. I go, but I feel weird. My chest is kind of tight, short of breath. This just doesn't feel right. And she goes, all right, well, sit down. We'll go to the hospital. She went and got her purse, and we were out. We didn't mess around, right? Went straight to the hospital. I get to the hospital. We go in the ER. I explain my symptoms. They're tripping, right? Instantly. Cart comes out, crash cart, nurses, doctors, people all over the place hooking up gadgets to me. Quickly, they determined my heart was fine. And then everybody goes, whew, they evaporate. Well, during the panic, they had me get a chest x-ray, right? And in the chest x-ray, they saw my right lung had collapsed. It was collapsing or whatever, right? And so all of a sudden, everybody freaks out again. They all come running back in. And so the doc comes in. He explains what's going on. He goes, yeah, dude, you got a collapsed lung. We're not sure what's going on or why, but we're going to have to stick in a chest tube and re-inflate it. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? It was just so surreal. I just didn't, none of it made any sense other than the fact I was having a hard time breathing, right? And he said basically what happens is your lung collapses, it sticks to itself because it's super sticky, and then it puts pressure on your heart. And he says, it'll kill you. And I was just like, well, great. He goes, so we're going to have to put in a chest tube. In this skull, right here, it's kind of hard to see, but in his nostril right there, there's a scar right there. Homeboy stuck the tube right in the Scully's nose, right? I don't know if he did that as a joke or was trying to hide the scar in the I don't know what he was thinking, but he was a dipshit rookie. It was so painful. I can't tell you what it was like to get a chest tube stuck in, because he didn't numb me up for it. You know, there really was no, this guy was a caveman, right? I don't know. And he had these two young nurses, and I think he was kind of showing off. I don't know what his dealio was, and he was really young. Whatever the records say for when I got my first chest tube, F that guy in the ER. For the record, F him. But anyway, homie puts the tube in, excruciating. Ask my ex, she was there to witness. shedded a tear for that pain on the physical side. Yes, I did. Ooh, ah, ee. It ain't over. Only could happen to me. Dipshit put it in the wrong spot. Had to take it out and do it a second time. I shit you not. You just can't make it up. So that was the beginning of the end of my career. So when we puts in the chest tube, right, I go check me into the hospital, right? I was in there for, I think, 5 or 6 days. They couldn't figure out why my lung wouldn't stay inflated, and they were going to have to cut me open, right? And then eventually it stayed inflated. And what they said it was a bleb, which is like a blister where the skin, like when you take a balloon and you blow it and it stretches real thin, and then the balloon where it gets real thin, it's transparent and it tears, right? Well, that's what they said happened to my lungs. It was a soft spot that tore, and then it has to mend itself. But it collapsed before it shut itself. She says, you could have little tears and they mend themselves without your lung collapsing. She goes, but this tear was too big and it fell. I was like, okay. I go, I smoked. Did I do this? She said, no. Cigarettes did not do this. She said, cigarettes will give you lung cancer from all the buildup of tar and nicotine and chemicals and blah, 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 and it'll grow cancer in your lungs, right? That made sense. But she said, what's going on with you is damage from something. Best we determined, it was inhaling acid fumes as a sheet metal worker. Soldering, put the hot soldering iron in, puddle of acid while you're etching the metal so the solder will stick and it fumes in the face. No respirator. I did it as an apprentice in school. I did it on jobs, whatever, right? Who knows what did it? But the consensus was my job, the JOB, took out my lung, right? That was the first time. And then it collapsed the second time. But in between the first collapse and the second collapse, I was having back issues. So I went to the doctor to get it checked. Turned out I had a collapsed disc and my vertebrae were bone to bone. Sorry, are you following me? Collapsed lung, go to the doctor, get found out back screwed, right? But while I'm dealing with my back issues, lung collapses for now the second time, right? So it was a insult to injury. So while I was waiting for my spine surgery, I had to wait for my lung to heal from the second collapse before I could get my spine surgery. So I went through 2 collapsed lungs and a spine surgery before it was determined I wasn't going back to work anymore. My body wouldn't let me. I wanted to. I only had 3 years to go. Why not just finish up? It was a nightmare. I lost a lot of money, pension money. I'm not even going to get into it. It doesn't matter anymore. But what matters is it was a 6-year process to get my name in some junk mail. It took 6 years of heartache like you have no idea to get my lousy name in some toss-away magazine. You just can't make it up. But it's true, right? And so here I sit in the gold country of Cali in some mobile home park waiting for this comp case to end, which it just finally wrapped just a couple months ago, if that, maybe 6-7 weeks ago. Finally over, really over. Turned out really foul, but whatever, I make do. Was gonna move to Oregon, couldn't afford that no more. The pension stuff didn't pan out the way it should have as far as I was concerned. They came up short, so Johnny's moving to the Great Lakes, and it was a blessing in disguise. It really was. Because now I get to experience a culture I never thought in a million years I would, or had any thought or inkling of. Living in that part of the country is so vastly different than California. It's like two different worlds, two different countries living up there and coming from where I come from. I'm looking forward to experiencing a whole new culture. You know, it's still in this country, but it's a whole new culture. It's nothing like California where I'm going. Up by the Great Lakes, you know, the more I learn, the more fascinating I become with the wildlife and the people and the countryside and the severe weather, the challenge of that. Heating, air conditioning. Come on now, I know what to do to stay warm. It's all good. I'm looking forward to what's coming. This medical emergency that we're under right now in this country is going to pass. I have no doubt. You know, whatever the outcome's going to be once it's over, that depends on the character of a lot of people. Yours included, right? In your very own house. How are you carrying yourself with your friends and your family? Are you keeping it together? Are you snapping at the ones you love? It ain't their fault. We're all in this together. You know, I'm victim of it too, right? Nice thing was I found sobriety with the booze and it changed everything. $1 late and a dime short, or however the saying goes, for sure. But there's also the one that says it's never too late, and that's Johnny O. It's never too late to turn it around. I'm not in the grave yet, so I've made my fair share of mistakes, but if I can get my doggy rescue old folks home